Hello friend, and thank you for joining us. Today's kitchen location is Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. And what better place than Vietnam than to try my hand at making some beef pho. It's a soup that has beef, rice stick noodles, a beautiful broth, and wonderful aromatics, and of course a lovely garnish at the end that you can adapt to your taste and your style. I'm really excited to try this today, and if you prefer chicken, I've also made a video making chicken pho, so be sure and check that out if you prefer chicken. Let's do a quick rundown of our ingredient list. I'm going to have this thinly sliced Australian chilled beef. Even though we're in Vietnam, they must have imported from Australia. Star anise, there are 2 stars here. Cardamom, allspice, cinnamon stick, I counted 12 cloves. The spices were all provided in this handy dandy package that I got at the grocery store, but I've divided them out so you can see what all is in here. And in this bowl we have dried ginger, a lot of dried onions, coriander seed, fennel seed, and maybe a few allspice are hiding in there. Salt and pepper to taste. Onion we're going to be roasting. Ginger we're going to be roasting. Lime to squeeze on at the end for the garnish. And this is what's going to make everything quick and easy. We aren't going to be making the stock from scratch. We're going to be using bouillon cubes. If you have stock convenient to you at the grocery store, you can get regular beef stock or beef broth. We'll have a little bit of sugar, goes into the recipe. Normally calls for palm sugar, but we're going to substitute this because that's what we have. We're going to put all of our spices into this filter bag, and so it won't be floating around in our soup. And then for the garnish at the end, we'll have bean sprouts, cilantro, and fresh basil. Oh, on the ingredient list, I almost forgot the rice stick noodles, one of the main ingredients. So also have rice stick noodles for the soup. If this is your first time joining us, our channel is about cooking and traveling. And what that means is we usually spend about 30 days in a given place, and then we move on either to a new country or a new location within that country. And we just try and find the best local food that we can. Street food is wonderful. Sometimes I try to replicate that. Or we just work with what we have. That's the main idea behind our channel. When we're moving every 30 days, we encounter new kitchens, new equipment, and new ingredients. And so sometimes we don't know what we're gonna have and we have to adapt. And I would like to encourage you to do that in your own kitchen so you don't have to feel stuck. If you don't have the best pots and pans, you can still make a lot of things work. And I've adopted that mindset, and it's taken me a lot farther than when I was frustrated with it. So let's get going. Let's start to assemble the broth base. First we'll take our onion and cut it in half and put it in a frying pan to roast. Okay, I have chopped the onion in half. I cut the root end very shallow to try and keep the onion to hold together while it's roasting. Here is our ginger, and we'll also put that face down in the pan and get a nice burnt char roast going on these. Okay, we have these in the pan. We have them on our induction burner. I can hear them sizzling a little bit. We will let those char and cook and give it some nice color, flavor, and that'll add a lot to the broth. We'll start by adding our roasted vegetables, the onion and the ginger. Look at that nice char we got on that. The ginger and the onion smelled wonderful already. And then in our apartment, right below us, we have a little like mom and pop grocery store. And I picked up this faux bouillon. So I'll put in a bouillon. If you don't have access to this, you can certainly use beef broth or beef stock. That would be just as easy and a lot easier and a lot quicker than cooking this for 2 days, which is the traditional method. Next, I want to talk to you about the spices. I have had a wonderful surprise. Went to the grocery store here in Vietnam, a little bit fancier one than the mom and pop shop downstairs, and it came complete with this packet, and it has all the spices in it. It did. I took them out so that we could talk about them. And it also came with this filter bag, so I'll be putting all the spices in the filter bag so they're not loose in the soup, so we end up not having to skim them off or pick them out, and we end up with a nice clear broth. So all the spices that I'm going to show you, I'm going to put right into this filter bag, but you could do the same thing by putting your spices into a large tea ball, or you could make yourself, you could cut out a little square of cheesecloth and assemble everything in the middle and make a little pouch for it. Make sure to tie it off with cotton string or butcher string, which is going to be cotton, because you don't want anything plastic or nylon in your food or melting. So then we're going to put this in with the broth, and it'll be able to release all the beautiful flavors and aromatics, but we won't have to pick it out of the soup later. I'll show you what goes in it. Okay, we have one cardamom pod. We'll be putting that in there. We have these 2 beautiful star anise. Whoops, I just put it in the pot. We're not putting it in the pot. We're going to put it in our filter bag. Here's a little bit of allspice, and then all mixed up that came with it, I would say at least a teaspoon each. This is going to be fennel seeds, coriander seeds, dried onion, ginger, and there might be a few allspice hanging around in there. And we're also going to have a cinnamon stick, and in here there are about 12 cloves. So let's get those all in the little satchel. Okay, let's get our spices into the filter bag. Cinnamon, cloves, cardamom, star anise, allspice. I would say between a teaspoon and a tablespoon of a mixture of all the other ones. See if I can get this in here without spilling it. Okay, now I'll tie a little knot in this, and then we'll float this in our broth. In the pot we have our onion, our ginger, and our bouillon. We'll put the spices in the filter bag in. And I'll be adding approximately 8 cups of water. I have to use clean store-bought water, so I'll be adding those in cup by cup. Okay, the last of the water, and we'll heat this up and let it come to a boil, and then turn it down and let it simmer for probably 20 minutes, 25 minutes. This is going to be a quick and easy version. That means we won't be spending 2 days in the kitchen boiling and roasting bones and tendon and other beef. We will be getting that flavor from the beef stock or the bouillon, but we will be enjoying beautiful beef with this thinly sliced beef steak that we bought at the grocery store. If you can't find it already thinly sliced, you can take a piece of marbled beef and stick it in your freezer maybe about 30 or 40 minutes till it's almost frozen. Take a very, very sharp knife and cut it thinly. This will go in our pho at the very, very end, and we'll actually be using the broth to cook it. While our broth is cooking and all those spices and aromatics are melding in the soup, we can prepare the garnish. And this is the really, really fun part about the pho. I mean, of course, it tastes fabulous, but according to what you like and how you like it, you can put as many or as few of these things on it that you wish. It could include very thinly sliced raw onion. I'm going to be having cilantro, basil, sprouts. You can also put in sriracha sauce. You can use a tiny bit of hoisin sauce if you like. The possibilities are endless. There's so much that you can do with it and adapt it to the flavors that you enjoy. Oh, and of course, we need to add fish sauce to our broth. Again, this is one of those preference things. If you're not used to it, if you haven't enjoyed this flavor before, you might want to go a little easy. If you know you like it, of course, you can put a little more in. I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons in, a little more. I don't think I showed this, but I did put in about a teaspoon of this cane sugar. Normally you would put in palm sugar. We don't have that, so I just went with this. I prefer to have more of a salty umami taste, so I don't put much in. Again, you can always flavor this to your preference in the way that you like it. The broth does look like it's coming along nicely. Look at that color, I like it. And it really smells great in here too. The charring on the vegetables is doing its job and providing a little bit of color and I'm sure a wonderful flavor to the broth. Now it's time to cook the rice stick noodles. Prepare them according to the package directions. We have this little tiny pot because the other pot is being used for the broth, so we'll squeeze this in here. The directions on my package say cook this 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, we're getting to the good stuff. Now I will remove the onion and the ginger and the sachet bag, the filter bag, out of the broth. Make sure we get the broth absolutely boiling hot because we're going to pour it over our beef and that's what's going to actually cook the beef. Look at how beautiful this is coming along. Looks great. Okay, you can see that we have placed our cooked rice noodles in the bowl. Now it's time to start assembling the first part. We'll put some beef, these thin beef slices in here. We're getting our broth boiling hot, so that will cook the beef. And then when I pour that in and it has an opportunity to cook the beef and kind of mix and meld together, then we'll go on with the accompaniments. Let's see if our broth is ready. Okay, let's pour a little bit of our boiling hot broth on here. Oh, see that? Starting to cook it already. I'd say that's about enough. That will release that wonderful beefy flavor. Let's start dressing it up. I like to put on bean sprouts because it is crunchy and crispy and earthy. I think it gives it a great flavor. Some lovely fresh basil. Cilantro always looks pretty. And I'll give it a squeeze of lime. Next, for the taste test, I can hardly wait. Let's mix it up a little bit to get all the flavors together. First, I'll take a taste of the broth. That's great. That's really great. The little squeeze of lime gives it some citrus. It's very beefy. You can taste all those other herbs that are in there without being overpowering. Delicious. The fish sauce completes it. Now let's go for getting to the meat of the matter. Noodles, beef, fresh herbs. That's fantastic. I couldn't be happier. Here we are in Vietnam, and I've had the wonderful experience of making quick and easy beef pho. I hope you try it. Thanks for joining us.